All right, let's dive right in. Today we're talking about one of the most important ideas in product development, period. It's called the minimum viable product, or MVP. And honestly, it can be a total game changer. So let's get into it. I mean, this is the big one, right? This is the question that keeps founders and project leaders up at night. You've got this amazing idea, but how do you get from that initial spark to a real successful product without burning through your entire budget on something nobody uses? And the answer really is right here, the MVP. Now, this isn't about making something cheap or unfinished. It's a strategy. The whole point is to figure out the absolute smallest version of your product that you can release that still gives your first customers real, actual value. It's your launchpad for learning. Now, to really get why the MVP is so critical, we have to take a step back and look at the world we're building in, because it is not the same place it was even a few years ago.
That's it exactly. I mean, markets can change in the blink of an eye. New technology pops up all the time. So what that means is those old, rigid, super detailed plans that we used to make, they're just not cutting it anymore. We need a totally new playbook. And that new playbook really starts with a huge mental shift, one that's right at the heart of how we think about projects now, coming straight from the PMBOK Guide's 7th edition. This right here, this is everything. In the past, success was pretty simple. Did we build the thing we said we'd build? But now, the real question is, did the thing we built actually matter? Did it create a positive result? We're moving from just making stuff to making a difference, from outputs to outcomes. And what I love about this is how it reframes everything we do. Our project isn't just floating out there on its own. It's a key part of this bigger system for value delivery. So your little project connects up to bigger programs, which connect to the entire portfolio, and it all serves the company's main strategy. Success isn't just about your project being done. It's about making that whole system work better. Okay, so if we're working in this new value-driven system, how do we actually do it? Well, we use a set of guiding principles, kind of like our North Star. Yup, there are 12 of them. And these aren't meant to be strict rules you have to follow. Think of them more like a mindset, a foundation that guides how we act and how we make decisions, especially when things get complicated. And this visual just lays it out so clearly. You've got the principles at the very top, guiding everything, and they influence how we approach all the different parts of a project. Now, when we're talking about building an MVP, 3 of these are just absolutely crucial. Let's zoom in on those. Okay, so first up, focus on value. This is your what. It tells you what to build. Let's say you're creating a new ride-sharing app, but for pets. Your big dream has pet cams and automatic treat dispensers. But focusing on value forces you to ask, what's the one core problem we're solving? Well, it's getting a pet from point A to point B, safely. That's your MVP. The other 2 principles are your how. Embrace adaptability, so you're ready to change based on feedback, and recognize systems thinking, so you understand the bigger picture of why you're even building it. Let's spend a second on systems thinking, because it's so powerful. It just means seeing that your project isn't happening in a bubble. Your team, the tech you're using, customer feedback, what your competitors are doing, it's all one big interconnected system. You can't touch one part without affecting everything else. And when you see those connections, you can spot opportunities and dodge problems before they even happen. Which leads us perfectly into another key principle, tailoring. Look, there's no one-size-fits-all way to run a project. It just doesn't exist. Tailoring is all about intentionally adapting your process to fit what your project actually needs. It's about having just enough process to be effective without getting bogged down in red tape. So, a huge part of tailoring your project means making a really big decision right up front. How are we actually going to build this thing? You know, generally speaking, you can think of it as a spectrum. On one end, you have the predictive approach. You might know it as waterfall. That's where you try to figure out everything at the very beginning and then you just follow the plan. On the complete other end, you have the adaptive approach, which is often tied to agile. This is where you fully expect things to change and you build in small cycles, constantly guided by user feedback. But here's the most important part. This is not a battle. It's not predictive versus adaptive. It's a spectrum. The best teams know how to find the perfect spot on that line. And sometimes it's a mix of both that makes the most sense for what they're trying to build. So how do you pick? Well, this table breaks it down beautifully. If you know exactly what you need, and it's not going to change, predictive is great. But if you're dealing with a ton of uncertainty, if you're doing something really new and experimental, and you need to be able to change direction easily, well, that's tailor-made for an adaptive approach.
And just look at that last row. If your funding is uncertain, an MVP built with an adaptive approach is absolutely your best friend.
Okay, so let's put it all together. How do all these ideas, these principles, these approaches help us build a minimum viable product that's actually smart? Think of it like this is your MVP toolkit. You start by deciding to build an MVP to test your big idea without betting the farm. You use that focus on value principle to decide what's in and what's out. Just safe pet transport, no pet cam for now. You use an adaptive approach to build a little, release it, and learn from real users. And you tailor your entire process to be super lean and fast. You see how it all clicks together? So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Look at what you're working on right now. Your project is a system. The real question is, are you designing that system just to get it done and check it off a list?